Okay, hi everyone, welcome back. In this video, we're going to check out ICP's price chart and see what is going on in short term and are we actually finally seeing some optimistic signs or not. Now, before we get into that, I think we have to talk about this very important tweet from the man himself, Mr. Dominic Williams, that once again, I think because of the whole current situation across the crypto space, it's just gonna go under the radar, but I believe that this is actually kind of a huge deal because in case you missed it, DFINITY is actually launching something called Open SaaS, which is a full suite of enterprise software applications running on ICP cloud engines, including a CRM to replace Workday and also an accounting software to replace QuickBooks. All of them are AI native, all of them are open source, and all of them are branded as AIware, which is the new software category that we broke down in a video before. But in my view, the detail that actually changes everything are actually the two words that makes this announcement genuinely disruptive. Those words are free forever. Now, to understand why that's actually a massive deal, let's just real quick run some numbers on what potentially an enterprise software actually costs. You see, Salesforce charges between roughly $150 and $300 per user per month. Workday actually costs large enterprises millions and millions of dollars annually, and also Microsoft 365 runs roughly between, let's say, $12 to $22 per user per month, and a company with, for example, 100 employees can easily spend $500,000 to over potentially $1 million every single year just on kinds of tools that Open SaaS is replacing completely. And Dominic in here is saying that all of that again goes to absolute zero since these tools are going to be 100% free forever. Now, the obvious question in here is that, well, okay, how is this financially possible? And the answer is actually where it gets genuinely brilliant. You see, the mechanism is called Jupiter Faucet. You see, traditional SaaS works like this. You pay a subscription every single month and the company uses that money to run servers. And because of that, well, okay, the software naturally keeps running. Now, Jupiter Faucet in here actually works completely differently because you make one single upfront commitment of ICP tokens and that ICP gets staked in the NNS, network nervous system, and the staking is going to generate voting reward continuously, and those rewards automatically convert into cycles, and those cycles power your software forever and ever. This process is going to have no monthly bill, no renewal, no vendor relationship of any sort, and it is absolutely self-funding software. And you need to think of it as like buying a solar panel instead of paying an electricity bill every single month. One upfront commitment and the energy is free indefinitely after that. Now, of course, at this point, we have to talk a little bit about the tokenomics of this situation because this is actually creating something that ICP never had before at this massive scale. You see, every organization that adopts Open SaaS and also uses Jupiter Faucet makes an irrevocable ICP commitment upfront, and that ICP never ever comes back to the market. Okay, very important to understand that because it gets permanently locked into the NNS, generating rewards that actually burn as cycles. So simultaneously, you get permanent removal of ICP from circulating supply, and number two, you get continuous cycle generation and burning, and also long-term holder creation from enterprise customers who have a direct financial stake in the network's health. And again, you might ask, well, okay, after all this, why is it that companies, some of them at least, will probably choose ICP and decide to partner with them? You see, after saying all this, for normal people like you and me, the answer might be a little bit still ambiguous. However, a CFO doing the math between committing X amount of ICP once versus paying, I don't know, maybe roughly $500,000 per year forever starts to probably see a very compelling case, and every single time they make that calculation and choose Open SaaS, ICP supply is just going to get tighter and tighter, which we all love to see as ICP investors. Now, as my final point, there are actually two more details from this announcement that I would argue worth flagging. First, Dominic used the word remixable, meaning organizations don't actually just get a standard apps. No, they also can modify them, combine them, and also build on top of them through Caffeine AI just by describing what they want in chat. And with that, for example, your Open CRM can get a custom field for your specific industry. Instantly, your Open account can get a workflow that your accountant designed in an afternoon. So basically, the software is going to reshape itself around you rather than the other way around. Second, setup here is actually described as being as easy as installing a phone application, which combined with Caffeine Snorkel automating legacy data migration probably means that the traditional barrier to enterprise software adoption, and by that I'm talking about those months and months long implementation projects costing millions of dollars in consulting fees, essentially is going to disappear. And this alone could be one very good reason to attract a good bit of adoption in this area. So in conclusion, let's just real quick zoom out and look at the full picture. You see, Open SaaS is number one, free forever, which is the most important point. Number two, it is able to set up instantly. It is able to, number three, run on sovereign tamper-proof infrastructure, and number four, has AI built into every single application from day one. And also, by the way, I forgot to tell you this, the data from every single application feeds into your organization's vault model, making your entire operation very much smarter over time. That, my friends, I think we can safely say that it is the entire enterprise software market being challenged with a pricing strategy that is honestly literally impossible, I would argue, to compete with. So let's just hope that DFINITY is going to deliver on this one, and for the love of God, let's do some more marketing. Okay, I think we are actually getting mostly hurt by marketing because the product, yeah, I would argue it's sort of kind of solid. We just need to find more and more customer and just simply get the words out there in order for us to attract a good bit of adoption. And once we get a couple of partners, I'm gonna say at that point you are going to see something like a snowball effect. So overall, I would argue this is actually kind of a big deal, and if you got time, I would suggest just do a research about it yourself. I think you're gonna find a lot of interesting points. Now, with all that said, let's go on the live chart and see what is going on in the short term, and can we argue, hopefully, maybe if you're lucky, some sort of a low is already up. Okay, here we are. And if you remember the last time that we talked about ICP, I believe specifically we were right around the lows in here, and the idea was that there's a good chance that we're gonna have a bit of a move on the upside, since if you want to be pessimistic, you could argue we are having off of the highest side in here about 2.4 to about the lows around, let's say, $2.1, a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it's very important to note that Elios wave suggests after a 5 wave, one way or the other, we are going to have a move on the opposite direction, which in this case naturally translates to a bit of a move on the upside. Hence why we said we're gonna get at least a temporary pass. Now, if you want to be bullish in ICP, okay, that's a bit of a different story. You could argue still we are having a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. However, this isn't at that point going to be like the beginning of a new phase down. Instead, it's just going to be the end of a correction structure, starting not from the highs, but actually from this point about $2.3 in form of an A, B, C expanded flat. And what do you have prior to this supposedly flat structure? As you can see, maybe if you are lucky, a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So is this thing going to end up being on a higher degree, wave 1, correction for 2, which in that case, what are we going to have next? You know the answer, I think. A huge move up into wave 3 and 4 and 5. I'm gonna say, despite having this recent phase on the upside, which could technically be an optimistic sign, it is at the moment way too soon to jump into those types of conclusions. Why? Okay. Number one, I do actually think that our move up in a very short term in ICP is going to continue a little bit more, since in the King BTC, I'm quite optimistic, and I do think in there we can have something like another 8 to, if you are lucky, maximum 10% move on the upside. Why? You see, in Bitcoin, I think we are having this beautiful ascending channel, and right now seems like that we want to get a break out of it. Why didn't I say that we already broke out of it? That's because if I just zoom in a little bit more, okay, if you want to say this channel is broken, you need to see a move above the higher band of it. So far so good. pullback. I would argue this is also good. And then here's the thing, you want to see yet another move up. And in this phase, the moments that we take this important high around, let's say basically $67,000, fair enough, this channel is confirmed as broken and it is going to send us up to where? Well, you need to measure the height of your channel from here to about this point and put it at your breaking point. There we go. As you can see, in BTC, this thing is giving you a target of around 69.5K, which I think we could go a little bit higher than that, maybe roughly around $71,000 to $72,000 maximum. And if we are going to do this, which I think we're actually going to do it, well, okay, what do you think is going to happen to a lot of alts, including, I would argue, ICP? I'm gonna say probably in those, we're gonna see some good moves on the upside as well, since in Bitcoin dominance, where are we? You see, at the same time that Bitcoin is going up, also in BTC-USD, we are seeing some moves on the upside. But here's the thing, I think soon we are going to hit, I'm not gonna say like very strong resistance, but it is a decent bit of resistance area nonetheless. And I'm hoping for a scenario that in it, Bitcoin dominance is going to get some sort of a reaction, not even like an outright rejection from this level. And at the same time, you see a move up in BTC. And that, my friends, is a bit of a short-term setup, suggesting in alts, we could, in some of them, definitely not all of them, but in some of them, we could see some relief rallies. So in ICP, I think we are going to have this scenario playing out. And what do you know? I'm thinking maybe this is gonna end up being a wave 1, ABC flat for wave 2, decent move up into wave 3, correction for 4, another move up into wave 5, and wait a minute, you might at this point say, well, okay, naturally this is an optimistic sign suggesting the lowest end. It could be an optimistic sign. However, I'm actually considering this thing as just an A, and then correction for B, another phase up into C, and relative to this move, it may be just a correction structure to the upside, meaning what? You're actually having overall in here a bit of a bearish setup, suggesting from the highs we can expect a move down in order to take all the lows. Why is it that I insist so much on being a bit pessimistic in ICP just for like very short term? Overall, do not get it twisted. I think downsides are limited and we are actually looking quite solid and right around the current areas. If you are a fair value and long-term investor, could be great buying opportunities. But in like very short term, I'm a bit pessimistic. Why is that? Because as you can see in here, and I think we talked about it also in videos before, we are having a couple of lows in this area way too close together. And if I just go on maybe a less busy chart, there we go. Let's just delete the drawings in here. Okay, so let's have a quick count. How many lows do we have close together? You can even start counting from this point. This can be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 lows quite close together. And I'm gonna argue whenever we are getting to about these areas, there are some stupid short-term traders who are opening some long positions in hope that once again we get a bit of a bounce, and a lot of them, like it or not, will actually put their subs under the lows in here, and the price unfortunately has a tendency to absolutely destroy those people. And I'm saying this with passion because I have been one of those people for many years. Okay, in this market, I lost a good bit of money before I turned somewhat, I would say, profitable. So I definitely know what those traders are feeling, but that's just part of the process. You need to trust it. Now, because of this specific reason, I'm gonna argue in ICP, number one, makes sense to either from the current point, maybe a bit higher even, expect a move down in order to take all the lows, and the lowest one down here is about, let's say, $2.05. But I think at that point we may just go down and just get it over with, and also take the lowest low down here, which is, excuse me if I just zoom in a little bit more, there we go, which is this one right around the $2 area. So in ICP, I think we should probably expect a 10% move to the downside. So if it happens, we're not going to be surprised at all. We're going to be prepared for it. And for those of you who are long-term investors, this could be a great buying opportunity. And on the other hand, if it doesn't happen, then okay, we're just going to be pleasantly surprised, which is always nice. Point number two though, I do think that we're going to get this move down. However, I don't really think after taking the lows, we are going to go a whole lot lower. And also, I'm thinking after having this I would say possibly 10% phase to the downside, we are actually going to see a rather quick bounce back. So if you feel like, for example, maybe right in here when we are getting this phase to the downside, you're going to be out or maybe you're going to be asleep, may I suggest just put your long orders already in these areas, so when the price gets to it, they're going to get activated and you are not going to miss the lows. And for me, honestly, I would actually rather be on the chart and just buy the dips one by one. I'm not really going to put some positions in here, but again, that's just a matter of personal opinion. You can have a different strategy. I absolutely respect yours and understand that, again, we are going to see after this quick move down, I would argue most likely a rather strong bounce back. So in ICP, the recent move down, fair enough, can definitely be an optimistic sign. In fact, based on what we talked about, yeah, this move on the upside can actually continue a little bit more. However, should we count on this thing as a beautiful bullish structure suggesting the bottom is in? I would argue at least right now, no, not yet. And I hope I explained everything well and you understood what is going on in Internet Computer's chart. And until the next update, I hope you have a wonderful time with your family and loved ones. Goodbye.